and welcome back and welcome some new faces. This is our third meeting for our commission regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. It's just to share experience, just to maybe exchange some thoughts, have some update, what's new, what's upcoming about the situation in general. And of course, if there are some questions, all of them are welcome to each other, and hopefully we can try to help each other. So, yeah, my name is Kaspar Sarpinš. I'm the chair of the Safe Cities Commission. I'm working everyday work within Liepāja Municipal Police, that's in Latvia. Small update. Today we have government meeting regarding the pandemic, so we had our emergency situation till the 12th of May, but the plan is that they will still continue the emergency state, but maybe some of the rules and requirements will become a little bit easier. For example, that there won't be necessary to have two persons only together. It will be able to be up to 20 or 25 people. So the social distancing is a bit broader now. Maybe they'll start some small public events as well. So there is still a lot of unknown because there are only just speculations what could come out of the meeting. So maybe even they won't continue the emergency state, but it doesn't look like that. The decision yesterday was between the Baltic states that Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, they will open their borders for each other. So the movement around the Baltic states will be much easier. We won't have to have self-isolation after returning from the neighboring country in the Baltic states. But returning from other states, you will still have to have this self-isolation for 2 weeks. So in short, that's all from my side, and I will go just in the order which I have here in the Microsoft Teams. So now I can give word to Evelyn from Tartu. So please introduce yourself and share a little bit about that. And welcome Roland to the meeting from Tallinn too.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Briefly about Tartu and Estonia. The main focus at the moment is exit strategy. Our government has decided to give up several restrictions, like allowing sporting in 10 people groups, then opening museums, libraries, and other that sort of institution, opening shopping malls, but all these rules like 2 people in 2 meters distance and washing your hands, these rules are of course valid. Our state of emergency continues until 17th of May. At the moment, as far as I know, the state of emergency should end by 17th of May, and I haven't heard that our government has planned to prolong it or extend it. So we work in that date. Also in Tartu, our main focus is exit strategy. We have opened all open air playgrounds, sports grounds, then some of the sports halls for the professional sportsmen. Next week will be opened all our libraries and museums, and open air cafeterias are open again. So the life is coming back day by day, but of course all the overall rules for distance, keep the distance and wash your hands are still valid. What is confusing in Estonia is to wear the face mask. So we don't have very common understanding, but the face mask is it's not obligatory, but it's in inside public places it's recommended. So it's briefly, I think, all. If you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Next, could you speak about the situation, Magnus, please?
Okay, so we are not officially the representatives of the city of Malmö, but I will anyway give a description of the situation in Malmö. And as you know, Sweden have not go into such a strong lockdown as the rest of Europe has done. And that means our kids are able to go in school, at least in mandatory school. And there is no restrictions in many other circumstances. We are allowed to go to restaurants, we can go even to bars, etc. However, there is some restrictions about spacing and how we're going to keep distance to each other. In Sweden, it's allowed to have meetings with 50 people or up to 50 people. But in real life, there is basically no meeting with 10 people in the business sector at all. Everyone has been very obedient and kind of adjust their procedures and protocols due to the situation. So in real life, where there is some people are taking stronger actions than the official regulation says it should. So in Malmö, we are not so severe hit by the pandemic yet, comparing to our capital city in Stockholm, where the government and governmental agencies are working from. And we are expecting our peak in the end of May and the beginning of June. And that kind of resonates very much when the schools are closing for a summer holiday. And that kind of puts some stress from the city perspective, because normally when people are leaving high school, there is a lot of partying activities, both within families, but also kind of organized by school and students and other organizations. And all those kind of needs to be restricted and how they will be carried out. So that is a big issue at the moment from many municipalities in Sweden, and especially here in Malmö, as we are expecting our peak to kind of come in the same time as these events will taking place. So I think that is perhaps the most urgent issue at the moment. And then of course we are concerned about the risk group, especially the elderly people and those living in institutions. That is a concern. So that's just a quick brief from us.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, already last time we were speaking about that in Sweden there are not so many official restrictions, but the people follow more thoroughly than in the countries where there are much stronger restrictions. So that's really good to hear from Sweden that at least the people do care about themselves. Okay, thank you. And then the next in the list is Rafał, please, from Darłowo, Poland.
Hello, welcome from Darłowo in Poland. I will start from the general data from Poland. The number of cases of coronavirus in our country is nearly 15,000. Nearly 800 people have died. However, many experts point that we do not enough testing in our country. Only about 15,000 samples are tested daily in whole country, in whole Poland. It's not too many. So far in Darłowo we have 3 people infected. On the national scale, restrictions are being lifted very slowly in Poland, but we've got some of change of these restrictions from our last meeting. There is still an obligation to cover the mouth and nose in public places. Protective masks do not need to be worn in workplaces, for example, but it's still a little bit confusing to work these masks in public places. Not every single person do it, and there is a lot of questions about that. But now you can move freely also for recreational purposes and not just only for work and shopping. Big shopping centers have been opened in Poland since May the 4th, but recreational space and restaurants are still closed. Meals can only be ordered to take away. From 4th May, hotels and accommodation houses were opened in Poland, but we've got restrictions on the number of guests. A conversation rate of 2 people per 1 room is used in Polish hotels now. From 4th May, libraries, museums and art galleries were also opened. There are restrictions on the number of people staying in these places, but they are working now. From 6th May, kindergartens may also operate, but in this respect, the decision lies with the mayor of the city. For now, only not many cities have decided to open kindergartens. We are still waiting in Darłowo with this decision because a lot of parents are afraid of sending their children to kindergartens now. As the city of Darłowo, we appealed to our government to create a plan for reactivating tourist destinations in Poland. 21 mayors from almost all cities of the Polish coast signed it. We hope that this season will still be saved. We count that a lot of tourists will come to our city. What will happen for the next few days? On May 18th, the 3rd stage of lifting the restrictions is announced. The restaurants will be open that day, so per 1 week, but with restrictions. It is said that only those places that have tables outside the premises will work, and the tables should stand 2 meters apart. From May 18th, hairdressers and cosmetics will also be opened in Poland, but schools are still closed until 24th May. Only in the 4th stage of lifting the restrictions, theaters, cinemas, gyms are to be opened. It will be at the end of May. We hope so. We've got one good information for football fans. Polish Football League is going to start at the end of May. This is the short story from Darłowo in Poland.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now, Roland, please.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, I had no time to participate in these last conversations, but About Estonia, Tallinn. About Estonia, generally, I think you got already the information how the state is going to leave these restrictions. It's mostly the same in Tallinn as it was told by Tartu already. But till now, if to give a short overview regarding our municipal police, so till now our patrols had like every day since this situation started has to control more than 600 places during the overnight. There are these playing grounds where the people, youngsters are gathering, eating places and etc. Where were some restrictions, so we had to control them everywhere. So now if we like step by step, in Tallinn we made decision that we are going to open the playgrounds step by step. I mean, if the city has cleaned, repaired everything, washed everything, so then we will open them. And this again makes for us more duties, because we have to like be clear which one is like officially opened playground, which one is not, because the worst thing for us is if there are very sunny and warm days. The young people, they are very frustrated and tired of these restrictions, and they want to go to the playgrounds, and everywhere they are like entering there. Anyway, if it's restricted, they are going there, and then we have to react immediately. But most things, I think Evelyn told you already that next week there will be some things are going to be opened, and a week later there will be like a second step, then will be like more freedom for the people. I think so. That's it for this moment.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Susanna, please.
Okay, thank you. Yes, in Finland we have had very strict restrictions, as you know, and still gatherings over 500 people are forbidden until 1st of August. So what happens after that, we don't know yet. Then we have opened up now for gatherings up to, but regarding the elderly, over 70-year-old, they need to stay in quarantine and cannot go and meet their grandchildren or go to the supermarket or anything like that. Of course, it's up to them, but this is what the government has told them to do, that stay home yet. Our own hospital here in Vaasa do not have the highest alert anymore. They have gone down to the second highest level. We don't need any face masks. We have never needed, and it has not even been a discussion that we should have them here in Finland. So that has not been an issue here for us. Daycare is now opening up, and schools are also opening up from the 14th of May, but how they will do that is still a little bit open from the government. They have not given so clear orders how to do that, since they still have the restrictions about 50 people in so the school they don't know what to do for the moment. And even if it doesn't have to do with the city, I want to tell you about the universities also, because they are in the business of taking on new students, of course, now, and they have switched. So the universities will take up to 90% of the new students based on their matriculation examination. And that has started a big protests from the students, because they think it's too much. Anyway, they will then, the rest 10%, they will have interviews over internet with the 10% that is not taken from the matriculation examination. I told you last time that the government has also given up 2,000 euros for single entrepreneurs, and that has given all the cities a lot of work. We have to make the decisions, even if it's state money that we are giving out. But of course, many are now going broke, and today's newspaper was full of that also. A global company like Wärtsilä is starting to lay off people here in Vaasa and in Finland, like several hundred. So that will be a big problem. No spare time traveling is allowed. They have opened up work traveling, so you can move from Finland to go to work in Sweden and Norway. And restaurants are also opening up slowly but surely. This about 50% is very confusing for the restaurants as well. For the moment, they are all closed and you can only go and buy your lunch and take it home. And then also a big issue for Finland has been the seasonal work that usually come during the summer to work in Finland with farming issues and picking berries and so on. And now we will allow that from the 14th of May, so EU citizens can come. And on top of that, also 3,000 persons in EU can come and work in the spring and early. So that's all from Finland for the moment, if you don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. And last from the list but not least, Karlskrona, please.
So, thank you very much. Yes, my name is Tor Almlöv and head of the Community Development Department, and I was participating in our last meeting also, together with Pia
Kroningen, yes, analyst on the city of Karlskrona.
But today we also have with us our member of the Safe Cities Commission.
Hello, everybody. My name is Anders Wiklander, and I'm head of security here in Karlskrona municipality. So I will start with a short update, and it's quite similar to the ones that Magnus Kvant presented from Malmö. We are complying with the Public Health Agency's restrictions, and the most important is if you're sick, stay at home and wash hands. We also struggle with the same problems with the schools that are ending starting in June. So we have quite the same problems or issues that we struggle with. Our peak, as Magnus mentioned, is quite similar. We anticipate that the peak will be in the end of May or might be in the middle of June if we get a peak. It can also be that we won't have a peak, that the strategy we are working after is successful, and we have a low rate of infected or ill people at a low rate during the whole summer. We don't really know but we are preparing for both scenarios. We have today one death in the municipality connected with the COVID-19. We have also had 78 cases of COVID-19 in the region of Blekinge, and the most of the ill people have been located in the capital of the region, Blekinge, Karlskrona. So I think that sums it up pretty much. I don't know, do you want to add something?
No, only that we still have the least incidents, so to speak, until number of cases for 100,000 inhabitants in Sweden. Our region is the least affected, together with Skåne. So we, in the southern part of Sweden, have had it very mildly up to now.
So I think that sums it up.
Perhaps you have some questions.
Okay, thank you very much. And now, yeah, maybe does somebody have some questions to somebody or some topic which you want to raise, please? Then it seems that this time everyone is satisfied and they don't have any questions. From one hand, it's good to hear that there are no questions. From the other hand, I hope it's everything is fine, and there are no problems which it's hard to formulate as a question. So then
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Susanna has a question. It seems from your pictures that you are all sitting at work, at least you in Sweden. You have probably done that all the time, but for us it's still distant work. You work from home. Everyone, also the government and all our ministers, everyone is working from home, and that is not going to change yet. We still think that everyone should work from home until you go on holiday, and maybe then in August when you come back. Then you can start working as normal.
Yeah, I think it's very.
We can speak from Karlskrona. We are recommending distance work, and if you can or are able to work from home, you may do so. So we are not at the office every day. We have days that we work from our homes as well. So if you can work from home, you should do so, but it's not mandatory.
Yeah, in our case, it's hard for the police officers to work from home because they have to patrol around the city. But the office workers and, for example, the municipality, they have made this kind of 3 corps. Like each division has been divided in 3 groups. So every second week, the group has worked from home. Or in some institutions, it's like 1 group and 1 group. So if someone from the group gets sick, so that the work doesn't stop, but the other group can still continue because one is working from the office, the other one is working for a week from home. So, and before exchanging the weeks, the offices are cleaned. So that's our situation, but it's not obligatory to work from home, or it's not obligatory to be on a spot all the time if it's possible. So some other replies, or?
I think there's always an interesting topic to discuss in these situations, and I guess this discussion will come further down the road, maybe next year or somewhere in the future. And that is very much based on a lot of the decisions are made on national level, but some decisions are also made at local level. And I think it's quite interesting to compare both from a city perspective, but also from a national perspective, on how this differs from different nations. I mean, we are all in the Baltic Sea region and fairly close to each other. And I noticed that the Baltic Sea states have decided to open borders in between them. And I know that Sweden and Finland have agreed on the same when it comes to be able to travel for work. And we have the same here in Malmö with Copenhagen, that you can travel for work, but no other means of travel. So I was thinking that, as Karlskrona also have stated, that we are quite mildly affected so far from the pandemic, and hopefully we will not have the kind of peaks that we have seen in Stockholm and some other parts of the world. But nevertheless, we are restricted, and we need to follow the directives from national level. which often are coming from our head capitals, of course. And in this case, when Stockholm has been so severe struck by the pandemics, there is, of course, major concerns, and the people who are making decisions are living in this region. And I was wondering whether there are in the other cities in the Baltic Sea region a discussion on how can we have a bigger mandate to adjust the regulation on local level? Could we create a trust between cities and the national government on these kind of topics? I understand Poland have asked to be able to open some tourist municipalities that are strongly living on the income from tourists. And it will be very interesting to follow this discussion between local level and national level from a governance perspective.
Yeah, in Latvia at least, there's good that we have this city representation networks. For example, it's for the whole cities, and then there is the separate, which is like the largest cities representation, like any association. So and a lot of discussions are being done through that association, and the communication has been really good with the government, and they have taken in account, and they have been reacting fast in some kind of decisions based on the cities, because finally at this point they understand that in general the cities are the ones who are dealing with the crisis much broader than the government themselves. So this is a good kind of opportunity for the cities to have the voice when they are more united.
In Finland, we had that situation going on, is it now a month ago, perhaps, when all the Helsinki region was closed down and they could not move from Helsinki to come further north in Finland. So that was a case where you sort of down a part of the country. But now when we're opening up again slowly, we have this that we call Regionförvaltningsverket, who can also decide locally on some things. But since I'm not in the city group discussing with them, I can't tell you what they are discussing for the moment. I know they are thinking about the schools and how the schools can open, because it's not only the city, it's lots of smaller municipalities around us. But that is something that we have like between the national, the state, and the city level.
Some other?
Yeah, I can give some words regarding Tallinn, Estonia also. That this first question, can we also work from home, from the city government, from city people who can, yeah, they have to stay at home and working from there by distance. But in our department, municipal police department, I think just few people, few officials who are able to do their work at home. Most of them are coming every day to work, and my patrol teams, they are just working by the schedule which is made from the end of months for the next month. So there is no big differences like everyday work. And now these discussions, like Estonia, it's quite small country, so most decisions are made by government level, and just this local, they have some suggestions or how to manage these rules what the government is taking. I mean, if to like from next week, I think there is allowed kids to go to the schools, but there already like local authorities, they can make decisions. Are they doing this and how they are doing this? But from these major rules are coming from government. And also, like in Estonia, there was Saaremaa and some more islands. They were totally closed because of this epidemic, and it was very aggressive there. So there is also like the major restrictions and rules were made by government, and these Saaremaa local authorities, they had the possibility to make their own decisions, but the general is still from government. And there is also, they had now are going to open this Saaremaa and islands that people are allowed to go to out from there and go there, and there are very strict rules that there in every day. I think there was 10 people only who can go enter there and go out, and it's permission you must have, and etc. And regarding this moving over the borders, I think in next week there will be open possibility for our workers also to go to the Finland. These rules, I think that was made yesterday or day before by the government. That's it.
And maybe word from Poland. In the previous month, in April, we worked partly from home. Now everyone must be in the office. When it comes to talks with the government, decisions are made at the government level, national level, and we have a choice only in a few cases. For example, we've got now choice if we can open kindergartens or if we have to still close these places. But when it comes to lifting the restrictions, we as a city, as a municipality in Darłowo, we appeal to the government to talk about lifted these restrictions, because we are waiting for the summer season, and we still hope that we can be prepared to make a good season for our tourists. Polish government talks with tourist organizations. These talks are underway, and the kind of and I can see that the kind of video conference fashion has been created. A lot of talks between tourist organization and government are made by video conference. So now we are waiting, still waiting to get this situation to normal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Some other questions maybe then.
I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if we are coming to an end of this session, but if we are, I would like to promote a forum where this discussion will be lifted again, and it's the European Urban Resilience Forum that is taking place in May, 27th of May, European Urban Resilience Forum. And I think there are good reasons to have high expectation that this forum will be very informative and a good exchange of experience and best practice on these topics as well.
Yes, you can send me all the information, and then of course I will share through the network. For the whole UBC, not only the Commission.
I will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Some other questions or suggestions? So if not, then I have a question regarding do we need to have our fourth meeting? Is there some is there interest or need for the next meeting? Maybe in 2 weeks.
Maybe in 3 weeks.
Uh, 3 weeks, it sounds good.
3? Sorry, 3?
3 weeks.
Okay. But do you think that there is need for this kind of meeting once more?
Maybe. We could have a change in our development in 3 weeks, so it could be useful.
Okay. So maybe we already can set the date that it could be then 28th of May. Is it okay for you? Exactly in 3 weeks?
Yes.
Sounds okay.
Okay, then
For Susanna, it's quite impossible that day. Could it be the day before that?
the day before that will be this European Urban Resilience Forum, I understood. So
Oh, yeah, sorry.
well, then maybe we can have it on 26th, and we could still try to remind about the forum then in that next meeting. So maybe have it about 26th of May.
In the afternoon, it's fine.
It could be the same time at 12 o'clock European Central Time, so it's Finnish time at 1 o'clock.
Perfect.
For the rest, it's good too.
Yes.
Yes, okay from Karlskrona.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, then thank you very much for the meeting. If there is not any more comments or questions or just wanting to have their voice, so then thank you very much and see you in almost 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you for all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Goodbye.